meeting at 10. Everybody sign in. Yeah. Okay. So
We have 5 that signed in.
Oh, you what?
One online.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, and Becky's online.
And one online.
So that's really good. I think we're okay. Okay, we definitely have enough. So, we want to make a motion to.
Motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
All in favor of approving last month's minutes, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, great. We approved, thank you so much. Okay, so to start the meeting today, we have Anthony Huntington here. He is the band teacher, yay. Well, you're here too, so we're excited, welcome. So we'll turn the time over to him to kind of give us some survey results.
Yay, thank you so much. I should have enough for everybody here, so I'm gonna send them this way, but this is just a handout of all the material coming your way in the PowerPoint. Is that bright enough? Is it warm enough?
That's what I told you, it's funky.
Yeah. Hopefully you can see that okay. You got a handout coming around anyway, it's all the same stuff. Okay, hello. Thank you so much for being here and giving me a couple minutes out of your day to just spew on you some facts and survey data and some highlights and some honest criticism and critiques about how the music department here has been going so far. I'm Anthony Huntington. It's great to be here with you. This is my first year at East. If you didn't know that, let's see, really quick about me. I'm from Pennsylvania originally. I moved here summer of 2022. I promise this is important context. I'm the oldest of 4. And being the oldest, I just need to speak from experience a little bit about my time in high school and how much music had an impact on my life. I totally would not be here if music was not so central in my life in high school. I was tossing up between engineering or music, and I had no older siblings that went through college. My parents had done it decades before. They were going through a divorce. I didn't have a lot of help. I fell back on music because I knew it was something I was good at, and it led me to great things. I think it's an incredible opportunity to keep in our schools. It doesn't matter what the school is, as long as there's music there, it is important. And I'm sure some of my students that have kindly came to support me can attest. So a couple things in this PowerPoint for you. First, just numbers of who took this survey. This was a survey requested to get some feedback on kind of the state of the program here. About 38 responses back, so pretty near 100%. Like if you look at my class sizes, pretty much everybody did it. And there's the grade breakdown. I got this kind of mapped out for you better on the handout there. So first thing I asked on this survey was on a spectrum of like I strongly disagree to strongly agree. These 3 questions here. I enjoy participating in my band orchestra class. I believe being a part of a musical ensemble has positively impacted my overall school experience, and music education enhances my creativity and critical thinking skills. You can kind of see the colors a little bit better on here probably than the paper, but almost everybody leaning towards agree, slightly agree or strongly agree. A couple with the strongly disagree, and some of those were, I hate to be honest here, but some of them were a joke, and my kids were just joking and didn't take it seriously, but that's okay. Most, you will find, I think most of my students in all of my performing ensembles would agree slightly or strongly about all of those things. Moving on here. How often do you engage in musically involved activities outside of regular class hours? So which of these students are taking music home with them or performing outside of just the classroom setting? The majority are frequently or occasionally engaging in music outside of school, which is important to know, I think. 7 in the rarely, and then a couple. And the other, I will add, the people who answered other typed in there like, I practice at least 2 hours a day, or I go home and I have time every other day. And they would lean in the majority of their frequently or occasionally engaging in music. So the majority of them, which is great. Now, I paired these 2 together because I think this is an interesting comparison. This one, involvement in my band orchestra classes influenced my academic performance, and I paired that up with, do you believe band orchestra classes contributed to your personal growth and development? The overwhelming majority find that music class, being in a performing group like this, does contribute to your personal growth and development. Maybe less so, a couple fewer found that it's had a significant impact, I guess, on their academic performance. But still, you could see the majority answered positive, which is great. So good things happening there. Okay, this is just a lot. I know it's a lot. I'm going to read a few of these off, but these were the consensus of comments that I received to the question at the top. To what extent do you feel a sense of belonging or community within your band or orchestra class? And almost all of the answers were along these lines. So I feel like my group is more together than the beginning of the year, so that's highlighting growth. I think it's a great community. I like when we play along. I have a strong feel of belonging in my class. I feel comfortable being in this classroom. The people make me feel like I belong. In band, I feel most comfortable being myself. The people here make it a very comfortable environment. I feel heard and properly appreciated. The sense of community is wonderful. I can talk to anyone about anything. We've become great friends. I feel comfortable. It goes on, but there's a lot of positive here, at least in terms of like social interaction, aside from just the academic and the musical part of it. Interesting here, again, the majority is leaning maybe or definitely, but would you recommend participating in a musical ensemble to other students? Most said definitely, some said maybe. A very small minority said not sure or probably not, but nobody said definitely not. So that's good. Okay, what specific aspects of your band orchestra class do you find most valuable to your overall learning experience? This is kind of varied, but a lot of positives. Learning about music theory and how to put everything together in song. Bonding with people that also enjoy music. Communication in the community it builds. It also brings me less stage fright whenever I have to perform. Sight reading, playing music is fun and it makes school fun. Just the relationships I get to build in my class. Social creativity benefits. Every part of orchestra has impacted my learning in other aspects in one way or another. Reading, being more outgoing and social, quick thinking, using deductive reasoning. I promise this wasn't me. This is all them. Like they had some good responses. Collaboration with others, which is very valuable to learning. I meet with other people I probably wouldn't interact with otherwise. I enjoy that I learn more history and find out the artists of the music that I play in my class. Music education, performance skills, community. So it goes beyond just kind of the educational level. You know, it's a lot of, there's so much social benefit to perform. And I could speak from experience when I had this opportunity when I was in high school. But there's so much benefit in being in such a kind of inclusive community of students that you'd probably agree, and they would agree, like you don't normally find them hanging out unless they were kind of placed in that position to do so. And a lot of them had made friends in the process, which is really excellent. So I'll pause on kind of the critiques and those things for a second, just to point out a few highlights of just this year. Again, it's my first year here, and the beginning of the year was tough. It was tough because it was just, here you go. Here's what you got. Here's who's in your class and figure it out. And we came a long way. So number one, I think it's important to note that the concert band program, which we'll talk about in a little bit later, is going to transition and just kind of get renamed. It'll be the same idea to symphonic band. I'll explain why, but this was a program that was not stable. It was really lacking. There's a lot of holes. And we got it kind of up and running. We started the year with fewer than 5 students out of a class of 20-ish that knew how to play their instruments. So pretty much 75-ish% of this group came in and said, I had no idea how to play this thing in front of me, right? And in the beginning of the year, it was like, if you know the movie Moneyball and how they're moving baseball players around and putting guys in positions they don't normally play, I was like, okay, this is concert band. You got to have these things, these. Here's the sections of the group. Here's who's in a section. What do we want to play? And it was like kind of handing it to them and seeing what they were into, engaging their interest. But everybody knows how to play, almost everybody knows how to play, which is great. The halfway through the year, holiday concert, this was a group that was so beginner. They were not truly ready, even in the aspect of just getting up in front of people and performing, to pull it off. But we are going to have a concert next week with them, and they're going to be part of the instrumental concert. So yay. We continued the community orchestra that got started in years past. We had a very successful performance at the winter concert. I got so many great comments from parents and teachers and faculty. Faculty are a part of this too. This is something that's open to anybody. And they said, this is such a great thing that you've continued, because, I'm just like, I have little siblings that like want to see what these music programs about. We got to bring them in. Faculty members have been a part of that, and they're also going to perform in our concert next week. We revived live pit orchestra, live music for the theater performance of Footloose in February. which was excellent. So it's been a long time. From what Nick tells me, it's been a long time since we've had live music every night. You know, all 4 nights of performances accompanying live theater. So that's excellent because that's how it should be. And we've had multiple performances and visits with our district's middle school instrumental students. I've made visits to Glendale. We've taken the student, we've had the middle schools, we've hosted them here. We've gone to these middle schools and we've said, you know, here's what we got to offer. Here's our different groups, getting them excited about trying to just ease them into continuing doing music in high school. Also, we hosted Navy Band Northwest from Seattle in September. This group performed for us and they held a master class with the contraband students. We hosted the University of Utah's Michigan Graduate String Quartet in February. This group worked with the orchestra kids. We hosted, and it was a surprise, in 24-hour notice, we hosted McNeese State University's NCAA basketball band because they said, hey, we're playing a game against Gonzaga in Salt Lake City and we want to kind of see East High and we'd love to perform for your kids. I said, let's do it. And we made it happen. We scored excellent ratings, which is 1 step below superior. We scored excellent ratings at both Region Jazz and Region Orchestra, which is phenomenal. I mean, I heard a lot of great comments from colleagues around other districts, especially in jazz, who said, you know, I can't remember the last time I saw East High's jazz band even show up at a region event. So that's pretty cool because we're kind of getting back into it. And we had 2 students in our orchestra score superior ratings, not at region, but at the state level in April, solo and ensemble. We had 2, a 9th grader and a 10th grader score superior. So that's excellent. On the right track there. Now, I'll keep this brief. There's a lot there. You can dig into it in your handout. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But I think you will find some commonalities from how or what their responses were to this question. In your opinion, how could the school improve support for the performing arts programs? What would you like to see change next year? Okay, I'll just go over a few. I wish that there were more students that showed up every day and do what they're supposed to do. More people in band so we can sound better and have a full class. Maybe have more kids involved. A little more funding for the arts. Maybe have more concerts. We're getting there. Now, this other one, the kid kind of missed the point, but I bolded it because I know you're going to talk about this later. It's probably just worth noting. I felt the need to answer the school could improve by safer and cleaner bathrooms. Okay, we'll get to that. More people. Let the groups perform at sports events, maybe. We're getting there.
Sweet.
We're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there. Field trips to places where there are performances. I'd like to see more people find this comfort in performing arts, have a sense of belonging. Maybe more students. Maybe more funding. More promotion for the programs. I feel like we need more people. I think you get the gist of where the common kind of response is here, is that these programs are small. Orchestra is smaller than we want it to be. Concert band is very small. Jazz band is very small. They're all way too small for my liking, what I'm used to, and kind of like what I grew up with. Now, granted, in Pennsylvania, I didn't even have an orchestra. All I had was band. But here we are. And apparently, orchestra is bigger out west. So cool. That's great. But across the board, this is all in mixed responses from all of these groups. More people. It's a little bit also like more funding. And yeah, I kind of figured that out along the way in terms of how I can pull from budgets and what we can order and how we can get that done. And I know you guys had a hand in helping us get a brand new concert bass drum, which is, we're using it every day, which is great. But it's basically more people and more promotion for the program. And I can tell you kind of from where I'm sitting, I'm really networking really hard with the middle school music colleagues to get into Glendale and Clayton and Bryant and just get a face. I want to be a familiar face to these middle school kids. And I think one of the biggest hurdles, which is not like a significant thing in every district, but many, is that there are just so many options available to them when they get to high school. It's like, oh, I'm not forced to do band or choir anymore. I could do welding. I could do auto body. I could do, anything. But the more I think we can get support in getting just kind of like transitioning them out of the middle school programs and just easing them into this and letting them know there's a place for you when you get here, right? If you're in band or if you're in orchestra and that's what you've been doing and that's what your middle school teacher has been coaching you to get better at for 3 straight years, why are you giving up on it when you get here? Like it's hard. I get it. There's scheduling conflicts and things like that, and we're working on it. But that's a big thing. I think you'll notice. Okay. Any additional comments? Will we go on tour next year? That's something I'm coordinating with Mr. Egan, the choir teacher, and we're going to try to make that happen for next year. A lot of nice things. They humble me with all this stuff. I'm a great teacher, connect with the students. They love the class. We need a bigger room. Okay. I'm not asking for that right now. That's okay. Do we have a separate class for drummers? I know in years past, I mean, speaking with previous teachers in this position and speaking with the Highland Orchestra teacher, they have percussion ensemble. They have drum lines. This is something we can start. There's not really a lot of interest there though. So the more we can talk it up, the better chance we have of like making that a reality. I'll leave that. I'll just leave that. I'm not gonna read all that right now. Let's keep going, but you can read that on your own. Mostly good, right? The last point on this is I'm very excited for next year to have separate classes for chamber and string orchestra, because years past that's how it's been. There were 2 orchestra classes that were separated into a advanced and a more beginner level, and then this year, because of low numbers, they're combined, and we had to make do. And you had really frustrated, experienced kids going, "Why am I playing this middle school stuff?" And then you had the beginner kids saying, "This is crazy hard for me." And they didn't have the kind of one-on-one separated sort of help, and they weren't kind of grouped into their experience levels. But next year, we have the numbers to make that happen. So concert band is gonna get renamed to symphonic band, primarily just to encourage these middle school kids to say, hey, there's a place for you. Like, you can continue playing your instrument, and it's going to be primarily more experienced folks. Kids that have been practicing your instruments for anywhere from 1 to 3 years, not just a bunch of random hodgepodge. Oh, I needed the fine art credit and I have no clue why I'm here. That was like this year. So 21 students currently registered for band next year. Truly, there were 20 some this year, but there were about 14 who would regularly show up to class. So in my eyes, that's about a 50% increase if they're all coming to class. Orchestra classes will be separate. So we're gonna have 2. We're gonna have one tailored to the more experienced player, chamber, and then string is gonna be for more of the beginner levels players. And I'm gonna work a lot with admin and the counselors to make sure that like that's easy and getting them sorted into the right thing. So we're not kind of jumping over too many hurdles to like reorganize. And then jazz band, 15 currently registered for next year, about a 36% increase. So yeah, it's like 10 or 11 right now. But hey, we still sound pretty good. And we got excellent ratings at region. So that's that. Again, a little smaller than we would like in terms of the numbers. So I think promoting the program is going to be huge. However we can make that happen here. But I think the more I'm a familiar face at the middle school kind of level, and the more I can network with them and just encourage them to kind of like just keep it going instead of like just taking 3 years of music and then throwing it out the window, you know, then we're going to see some growth. Because if we saw some growth this year, I'm already excited for what the following year is going to look like. And that is it for me. So I'll take any questions you have or any comments or anything, but thank you so much. All seniors from my classes here. This is Cameron. He's orchestra president. Quincy is president of jazz band, and Chris is also a member of jazz band. I don't know if you guys want to talk about anything, but what you like from your point of view, like
I think, because Mr. Huntington did put in bold the thing about the bathrooms being unsafe, and I feel like anybody who's aware of how East is aware of the fact that the bathroom's been trashed these last few years. I feel like a lot of students just need an outlet, which is something that musical programs can provide.
Yeah.
I'm part of a lot of fine arts here at East. I directed Take 5 this year. I was in Limited and Focus and part of the league. My favorite place in the East is still the music room. I have been working for 4 years. I've had 2 different teachers. I've gone in and out from chamber being separated and not separated. But under Mr. Huntington's, I have seen so much growth in the last year. And just this year, when I saw the last 3 years combined. So I think it's going in amazing places.
Okay, this is super exciting, and I think all of the forward things seem so positive for next year. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
You. Thank you for this update.
Thank you guys. Thanks for
Yeah, that's-
inviting me.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for all you do to keep music afloat at East. Because good things on the horizon. Thank you so much.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you. Okay. All right, moving on. We are going to kind of move into our SCC discussion. I emailed you guys. There were a lot of topics in that email that I sent, so I'm sorry, but we talked about the self-employed policy and procedures. I sent that off to you guys. Since then, we have had some updates. So I've asked Elizabeth and Kristen to kind of just speak to what's been going on since I sent that out, and
I couldn't find my cell phone shirt that I wear when I talk about cell phones, so, it's the end of the year, I can do my laundry done. But I think we've talked about this a lot, and hopefully people have read it, so I don't think we need to like go into it a ton, but what I will just highlight is, what we did is we pulled from the district has a policy, so basically the idea is, let's actually implement it. So, most of what you see in the policy is just that cell phones need to be put away, not even in a pocket where it's easy to like be buzzed all the time, but put away during class time. That's it. So kids can have them during lunch, before, after school, in hallway transitions, but just not during class time. There are 3 exceptions: medical reasons, or IEP, or 504 plans. Emergencies is a given, and parent request or teacher request. So that allows for, if a parent, maybe it's not a medical or official IEP reason, but they have a particular family situation where a child, one of the children needs to be more accessible, or any of those, as long as they're just approved by admin, parent requests, and then teacher requests. So our goal with this is to have uniformity among the classrooms. A lot of teachers we've talked about will encourage the use of cell phones to do different things, and our goal is really to be using the laptops that the district has provided, not just for equity reasons, you know, especially for students who either don't have phones or whose parents are concerned about just giving them unlimited internet, but also just to encourage the use of the resources that we've been given. So along with that, the idea here is that if it can't be done on a laptop, then a teacher should just not be done. But anything that can be done on a laptop should. So that's the goal. If a cell phone is being pulled out when it shouldn't, for those who didn't have time to look through everything, our goal is to have like these little cell phone lockers in every classroom. They're clear acrylic lockers, and this was based off of a plan that Ogden High has implemented. And if you want to feel pumped up about cell phone plans, call the principal at Ogden High, because she was super exciting to talk to. She's really passionate about it, and really backs up her teachers and her school there. And so the idea is, if you are caught with your phone, teacher asks you to put it in the locker, you have control. The teacher isn't trying to grab it. The student puts it in the locker. The student takes the key until admin comes to retrieve the phone. One thing that has changed even in the last couple of hours is some adjustments that some of the administrators have asked for, and I think we'll leave that maybe to SIC and admin to work out the logistics between how, like, what does the teacher do versus an administrator. And I think the admin's goal is to have teachers kind of managing it until it escalates to like a 3rd offense or so. I can send this out so you can take a look at it. So I don't really know what to do in terms of support for a plan, since we sort of have 2 versions, but essentially, if it gets to the point that an admin has to come and take the phone, then they keep it in the office and then give it back to the student at the end of the day. And then when it gets to the point that it's been an offense again, then a parent needs to come and pick it up, or arrangements are made for parents who are in a situation where that's not possible. And then finally, there's a conference between student, parent, admin, like, hey, what do we need to do to help this be successful for you? So that's the gist of it. I don't know if Elizabeth has anything that she wants to add, but what I will say is the schools that we have talked to that have done something similar, as Ogden High said, the first 2 weeks were hell. It's really awful. There's a lot of, dealing with it, but usually after a couple weeks, it really settles down, and they've all been really grateful that they've put it in place. So that is our goal. Right now, I think the plan is to have SIC look at it next Tuesday with whatever version is negotiated. And then hopefully, if it passes by a 2/3 vote of the faculty, then Dr. Taylor will send it to OCR to be reviewed with all the other policies to see if it's in compliance with all of those stuff. And the hope is to have it in place for school year. We don't know how long OCR will take. We don't know if that's will approve it. Like, there's a lot of ifs and ands, but we're excited that we're at least at this point. So, did you have anything to add?
No, you covered it. Just
I
the.
should say what you guys, I mean, I feel like it's good.
Did you write a speech?
I wrote a, you know, I did.
No,
No, I was right to that. So just so you know, so we, you know, it was a few months ago that we voted on a resolution to move this plan forward. We gave it to Brian Jensen. He's talked to the school board about it. Aaron and I went and talked to the faculty meeting last week. Was that last week? And as Kristen said, we're in the final stages of getting this thing through, sending it to OCR. We met with Dr. Taylor today. The hope is that this goes through, it passes, and that we can have it in place to start the school year next year, which would be fantastic. It's only been 18 months. It'd be great.
I will say too, in case you didn't have time to read it, the idea is to do a soft implementation first, so a couple weeks, potentially more, depending on the timing of when we want to put everyone through health. Obviously not the first 2 weeks of school, but we'll kind of time it out. Ogden did it like after the holidays. That was like a really slow time, so that worked well. But a soft implementation where nobody gets any type of consequence, but we all just get used to the idea. So yeah, exactly. So in case that.
And I just want to reiterate that this just feels so timely. I feel like with the urge from the governor and all of like the national conversation and everything that's being talked about now, it really feels like now is a good time to do it. And Elena has spent so much time meeting with us and meeting with teachers and administrators to really come up with something. She has like really been awesome at trying to make something that everybody will agree to. So thank you so much for all of your time, and I'm so hopeful that we can do this before the end of the year. And like Dr. Taylor said today, hopefully we can have something to present to parents at registration. So that's our hope. Okay. Any questions? Anything else?
Do we want to? We don't get like a vote power wise, like it doesn't really matter. But I'm just wondering, like, can we tell the faculty that SCC supports this or not? But people, do they feel like they've been able to read it? Whether it's the version that's more admin heavy versus teachers handling things. I'm just.
Your motion to support, is that okay?
I think that would be
Like
awesome.
non-binding, just kind of.
Yeah, I'm just curious what the temperature is and if this is something that, I mean, I think our resolution was pretty firm, but this is a very concrete plan, which may or may not jive with what you thought the direction was going.
I think it would be nice when Dr. Taylor sends the email, if everything goes well on Tuesday, to say that he has the support of the SCC and that, you know, because I told him that about. So if somebody's willing to make a motion or if people want to talk about it, we can do that too.
Make the motion that we take a poll of support or not support, you know.
Second that.
Okay. So maybe let's just raise your hand if you are in support of a plan, knowing that there are still some intricacies yet to be worked out. But if you're in support, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then opposed. Okay. Great.
Can I ask one quick question? What's the sense of the faculty's perception when you went to the meeting, and Elena, what you're hearing? I'm just curious where the faculty is.
The faculty would really like a plan in place. What was presented to the faculty was the original version in which the burden of the implementation was on our administration. The faculty meeting was the first time when our administration actually saw the plan. So we also opened all the documents to feedback from faculty and administration. So based on the feedback, we modified certain parts of the plan. And then, when I talked to the administration, it was made absolutely clear that we do need to have documentation for every single offense. So, today I worked on a more concrete plan to put, the places where either a teacher will, complete the documentation or the administration will complete the documentation, and what are the stages and the avenues for parents being informed of different offenses. I will be honest, the teachers have not seen the new version. They like the fact that we will have one uniform implementation and the administration will enforce that. This is brand new. We had to negotiate both parties, administration and faculty need to be on board for this to go through. So we will see tomorrow when I send the new version for feedback. We will see where faculty stands. So.
Do you feel like if some of these implementation bugs or things are worked out, that the faculty generally is supportive of
Yes.
stuff?
Yes.
I'd say Erin felt like it was like, almost like
They're
cheers.
so nice.
Yeah, in faculty
They
meeting, they were
like
so
cheering us
nice.
happy. And
It was a little scary to go in there to be honest,
It was.
and they were actually really positive.
They were so nice and so supportive, and I've been stopped many times in the hall just in the week since we've been there, asking questions, and when do we get to vote, and thank you for your presentation, and so it went really well. I definitely get the sense that faculty is on board, but it is important that, you know, everything is as it should be, so.
Thank you so much for putting this together and working with the work that our original cell committee had put in place to have what we have today. Hopefully.
Elena really did step up, so huge thanks.
Yeah. The next item that we have on the agenda, this is a little bit big, but I just thought it was worth a discussion here. So we'll have elections for SCC next September, but before we do that, I just wanted to kind of get a feel for how everybody feels about the number of people on SCC. I talked to Paul Pratt to just make sure that all of our ducks are in a row as to who can be members of SCC, all of that. But I guess I was wondering, right now, there's not really a limit on SCC, and it's been great because I do feel like we have a large and generally really supportive SCC. We have run into problems a couple times with our large SCC, just in the months that are really busy and people can't make it. Sometimes it's hard to have enough people here for a forum. And so that's been the only thing that's made me think, I wonder if this is just worth a discussion, if it's something that we would want to cap or put an actual number on the number of people. And maybe not, maybe it's just fine, but I wanted to kind of see if anybody had any ideas or thoughts on that.
Natalie, how many people are in their first year right now? Parents.
10.
There's 10 parents.
Their first year.
Can you list them like that? Like is
Yourself, Becky, Sarah Fox, Elizabeth, Jen, Worsden, Sarah, Mary Catherine Perry, Cameron, Kareem, Sarah, and Rebecca.
Frederick?
Anderson.
So say, I know some people won't. be there.
Yeah.
But it sounds like there would be 10.
Okay, so those 10 automatically have the option to serve in something. Confirmation that they want to serve again, or that they understand. Email and ask them.
Yep.
I think I would have to say about it is, it might be a good idea, and I know we've talked about this in the past, but to try to reach out to kind of each area in the school boundaries so that there's a variety. I think the way that the SCC is written, we're supposed to have districts, and we're supposed to have one person per district. So we're kind of out of compliance.
Or actually, I called Paul Pratt and asked her specifically about that. We don't have to do that anymore. So to a specific zip code per se, or whatever it is. She just said, so long as you just want your SCC to be made up of parents who care and are concerned about school, it doesn't necessarily matter. I think it is in our best interest to have parents from all neighborhoods that our school encompasses as much, represented as much as possible, 100%. So I think we should definitely try to be mindful of that when we are holding elections or inviting people to serve on the SCC next year. I think if you know of people that are in your neighborhood or people that you think would really have some great insight or provide something that the SCC needs, please invite them to come. I think that's a huge part of SCC, and I think that's something I would love to see. Yeah.
And I actually, I
Nope.
actually think that is a great way for people to get involved. I really think that having an invitation from someone saying, come be part of this is important.
Yeah.
So if there is someone that you think, I think that can go a long way to say, come and join us.
And they would just come to that first meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would need to know.
I always wondered if we can add something to the registration. Or wanting to do volunteer hours, how many people? Because I feel like, you know, we just come register our kids and then we involved in this.
Maybe we can have a team at registration, like PTA does. You know what I mean? Maybe we could do something like that too. Let people know what SCC is. I love that idea.
How many are in their second year?
9.
Like, so were we a body of 9 team?
Yeah, there's 9 that technically are done and would have to put their name in to be elected.
And then how many faculty voting members do we have?
Confused on that. I don't have the
Because that's the other
I
thing.
did get clarification on that as well.
We need to know how many faculty members you would like so that we can vote on those faculty members. So how many spots for faculty would you like on that committee?
We have 7 currently listed that we always have.
That's
listed.
like,
So it's
Although
Anne, Jennifer, Elena, Lynette, Mark, Cassidy, and Julie.
We were never voted on,
Yeah.
so when we
Yeah.
realized that, we stopped voting on
Okay.
Yeah.
So
We come here
clarify that
to
for next
report,
Yeah.
but you should have, these bodies should have voting faculty members.
it. So they voted on by then.
Yeah.
Parents are not.
Nope. I did ask Paula today that as well. She said that a lot of schools, if you guys are willing to have a vote and people are willing to do a vote about it, then good. She said otherwise, maybe it's by invitation, because some schools are just having a hard time. So I'll let you guys determine that, but we do need to pick a number of faculty. And the only rule is that we have 2 more parents than faculty. At least 2, yeah, at least.
But we'll only have a quorum.
At minimum, we have 1. And then we have as many as we want, right? And 1 in addition to the principal. But I think we should maybe pick a number so that these guys know what to take to the faculty.
well, I propose 2 because it's a parent organization, so I think it really should be mostly parents. But obviously, the visitors that we have and the faculty voting members, I think is helpful, but I think if we're trying to not have it be too large, I'd rather emphasize more parents than teachers. And it seems like it's hard to get them, so the less you have to get. Maybe after the cell phone bill, like, they're gonna want to be on here. But I make that's the easier part, right? So I make a motion that we propose that we have 2 voting faculty members.
Does that include the principal?
No.
No.
And would one of those be the SIC chair, or does it matter what faculty members they
Our
are?
faculty decides that, right?
The faculty will decide this. Now, the SAC chair, the SBL advisor will still come here to report and answer questions, but will be non-voting members.
Unless you
Unless
end up
we're
being elected.
Unless we're
as well.
voted on, yes.
She made a motion. Okay, let's take a vote then. All in favor of having 2 faculty members on next year's? Say aye. You raise them really high.
Aye.
Okay, that's definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone opposed?
Anyone's opposed?
I'm not opposed, I just wanna ask a question. So we have representation from a counselor, right? We have the SIC chair. Does it make, and are those 2 people counted within the 2? Okay, thank you.
They'll
for the
still come and
clarification.
report they could be elected to be the voting member.
Okay.
But there, you could have, potentially you could have four, like 2 extra people who rate it.
Yeah.
And then the people that come to report, plus the 2 voting members would be coming. to the
Okay.
meeting.
I asked just because I think those perspectives are really important, and we wouldn't want to limit, you know, that kind of representation.
Are there SCCs where all of those roles are voting? Like it's automatic, if you are the counselor for the year that comes and does, like you are also a voting.
I don't think so. I think it's just who's voted on.
And I think most SCCs are quite a bit smaller, like at my elementary school, it's like 6.
It's 6. It's typically what.
Parents, and then 2 teachers or faculty or.
And that's how
like-
they train it out, and their training is like 6 and then the.
Yeah, so we're like unusually large, but I'm not sure what to do because you automatically have to have 10. Because that's how
That's how
many,
many we have coming back. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to come back.
so,
But you could limit that, right? Do we, I mean, if they're in their second, do they automatically get the right, or could they have to put in to be elected?
you automatically get
They
it if you
automatically
want
get it.
that. They're elected to 2 positions.
Sorry. Other than the quorum issue, what do people see as the downsides of having more parents involved? Versus the 6th, or sorry, versus the 6th.
I don't really see.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that it's robust. I like that there is excitement and that people come. I think it is a great way to be involved and have a sense for what's going on in the school. So part of me feels like the more parents that have an idea for what's happening, very good, right? But that's my opinion.
And what is the quorum requirement? Is it 2/3 to have?
Yeah.
Is that state mandated or I thought it was majority? Like, can we change it so it's just a majority? Or is that dictated by the state?
You got it.
We had a big discussion too about limits, and I don't think we're anywhere near the point where we would have to put limits on members.
Yeah.
But we did, if we look back at the beginning of the year or possibly the end of last year, we had a really good discussion about numbers and should we limit
Yeah.
this and that. So if someone would dig that up, I felt like that was, I don't remember all of it, which is the problem.
I think we like set our cap at 25.
Yeah, which we're not there.
We're not there.
With the option to like. limit it down.
Yeah, yeah, we didn't wanna, but like, we wouldn't wanna go above 25, cause that might be too much, but we were.
I think a larger number is much more manageable if we only need a majority. I didn't realize it was a 2/3 for quorum, but typically majority is adequate to conduct business in Robert's rules.
One other thought is, just gonna get the word out about the quorum issue. This is me just exposing my own naivete, but I wasn't aware that we had ran quorum issues in other meetings. And I think it'd be really easy just to log on, have other people.
Well, for sure, and that actually has saved us. I will say that it seems like every time that we run into that problem, all of a sudden somebody will jump on Zoom that will get us to their, you know what I mean? So it's been okay. Every time we've been able to do it, even if we've had to like vote to the end of the meeting, people aren't on at the beginning, but it has worked out. I just feel like it has been a little bit tricky to start meetings sometimes. We just want
No, often quorums are small.
Well, that's a good question. I
So
will
I
for
mean,
sure
I think
clarify
it's really
that.
interesting to see.
Okay.
how the facility-
Yeah, I'll pass the ball up and I'll get back to you guys. Maybe I'll send an email. I'll do that in an email.
Erin, would you just also ask Paula to really check into that district's, when we band, you know, the representation. I think that this group really is top heavy on the east side, and I know it's hard to get the west side. But, considering that we're directed at the greatest need, that's what we're supposed to spend money on, is the greatest need. The greatest need tends to be the west side. So I think it's really imperative that we, even if it's not a requirement to have the districts, I think that we should strive to get the districts.
Yeah,
To get
no, I
seats
agree.
from every neighborhood.
Well, I did ask her specifically that question, because I knew that that was something that we had talked about. It was actually changed in the legislature, she said, that they said.
It was changed in
In the legislature, like years ago, put that into place. I think because schools were just not
Falling
getting,
apart, yeah.
Yeah. of course.
So, but I agree, I think that's what I'm saying, if we can recruit parents or whatever we can do to, yeah, get a good balance of parents, I think that would be.
I mean, last year I
Amazing
went
idea.
to Glendale and talked about SCC, like, sometime in the summer, or either at the very end of the year, or the beginning of the year, or whatever, so. I mean, we keep doing that, but.
And that's why we meet in Glendale. We did that as a way to try to help make it easier for parents who want to be involved.
I know,
And,
but we just have to keep trying.
5 years ago, that wasn't happening,
We
so.
also need to get translators, if maybe they know that we will have translators. maybe they will show up.
And we did that for a while too. We had,
Yeah,
really
but
nice
I wonder
Spanish.
if it might be worth it for us to meet with the new principal and talk about registration day, you know, when everybody comes and we fair days and, you know, all of that stuff. If we could do like a little plug for SCC, you know, that, or just some information like, hey, sign up and it's, you know, basically a 5 to 6 hour a month commitment. You spend a budget wherever you want.
I think it's a good idea to do that registration for sure. I think we should also.
We also could have our first meeting where the elections happen at Glendale instead of here. Because if you can get people at that meeting and elected, then once the election happens, like.
It's great. I love all of these ideas. I think that is awesome. I did put East High School as our first meeting next year, so I'll change that to Glendale. You guys are okay with that?
I just did some deep Googling and, according to the legislative site, they do say that the majority is. Now, I would still check with Jen. I would not trust my quick Googling, so still check with Jen, but I just Googled for the state, 'cause this is a state mandated. initiative.
Okay,
I think that's.
thank you.
Yeah, so double check.
Okay. That's okay. Okay,
Just a quick
oh yeah,
comment, just along the lines of trying to get a better balance.
Yeah.
of distribution in the SCC. Just wondering if there, because the Glendale Community Center, I'm sure there are things going on throughout the summer.
Mhm.
And if there's a way to engage somebody there, or if one of us is maybe going there regularly throughout the summer to like talk to people.
Mhm.
And try to connect with others who will be or are parents of those students.
And I do think the translator idea is important. When I was there and talking, they had a translator translated verbally, like the whole time. So I said a few words and I waited, she translated what I said. It's like, dang it, I just want to learn Spanish. But like, it was really interesting to watch it. So to translate that here.
You're planning to be here next year as well with our SCC, so if anybody needs some audio or Arabic, I'm also.
Thank you. Maybe we could communicate via email, because I think all of these ideas are so great, and whatever we can do as far as outreach goes, whether it's during the summer or leading up to school or, you know, anything. I'm sure that there are plenty of us that would be willing to go and do that, so maybe we could just kind of keep the dialogue going, you know, just via email. If anybody has any great ideas or knows of events that we could attend or things like that, let's go and try to represent and get parents from, you know,
Just
wherever we can.
just a general question, just to make sure we don't throw ourselves in line by accident.
Yeah.
Like everyone, I'm all in favor of this wide distribution of representation. But if the quorum is the majority of members, I'm just saying, you know, to do this, you have to want to do this, right? Sure. It's not a lot, but it's also easy to pull it off. So I'm a little bit concerned if we get super fired up about cheerleading people into it, then they might come to the first meeting, register, and we might not have a quorum next year. Right? It's a risk. So I'm just wondering, is there any tool to remove people who don't show up for something like that? Because we could get 30 people fired up then somewhere in Belgium, nobody comes again, and suddenly a quorum is 16, 17.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No, there is a process, that if that were to be the case, right, if people just aren't coming at all, there is a process that you can.
But
But I
only
think
if we vote on it,
we have to,
because we don't have one. Yeah. Is there one by the state?
yeah. And I'll test all about that too. I don't know,
Obviously, you don't anticipate that.
yeah,
It is possible.
and it seems
People's
like,
enthusiasm tends to flatten out. a little bit
Absolutely.
as the year goes on.
I mean, I think it is important to be really upfront about what the requirements are and what we're asking people to do, and if we are considering, right, knowing that, yeah, that there would be a commitment level that they would be willing to come every month. Obviously, there are things that come up, but even if we can continue things on Zoom, most people can hopefully join that way. And I don't foresee it ever being so much so that we couldn't send an email saying, we only had 7 people show up, we need more here next month or whatever, but I guess that certainly is a possibility, so.
If there's not something in the state, then maybe it's something we could vote on at the first SCC meeting. Like if we need to take care of that.
Yep.
So we wanna-
They forgot.
Every year's different, every year's different, you need to kind of deal with what's happening right now, we can't.
Yeah, it's true. Okay,
So our consensus is not to count it.
we're not gonna count it.
We'll keep what we already did.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. And then we said 2 faculty for next year. All right, that is all on the SCC discussion. Unless anything else there. And then I did want to announce, Sarah reminded me that on May 17th, this Friday from 4 to 7, East High BSU is having their summer kickoff, and this is a fundraiser for that group. It is going to be activities and games and.
Yeah, so, we invited, new black-owned businesses, so we're gonna be promoting that and games and food. This time it's $5 to come in for our students, just to support. And of course, the money will be used for the club, but we also do other things like teachers appreciation week, we did a breakfast, for faculty, and so we're also doing things for our community.
And that's going to be in the faculty partner office, right? It's Friday. This Friday, 4 to 7. Okay, it's $5 for students, $10 for non-students, or a donation, whatever, because it's a fundraiser, right? So, okay, that's good. Thanks. Okay. My last final thought, is I'm gonna have to leave a little bit early, and Annie's gonna take over my conducting, but I do have like a little thank you gift for you guys. Thank you all so much for doing this year, and I've learned a lot, and I've loved being here every month with you guys. So thanks so much for your time and for your effort on SCC. You guys done a great job, and it's been super great to get to know everybody better and to be part of you guys and part of the school. So thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I keep trying to convince her daughter to switch from Highland. Here.
No, I dang it. Okay, so we'll move on. Jen has.
I'm gonna defer my time.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yep.
I'm not gonna do a huge report, but I also just wanna thank all of you for really being a dynamic, thoughtful, engaged SCC this year. I have been so impressed. I mean, for the whole 3 years I've been here, but it has been a consistent group of people who truly love East and who truly want to do what's right. And I think that our land trust plans are so good that everyone should come and learn from us from beginning to end, how we develop, do, set things, put them in motion, and then have some results that we were waiting for so long just to see that what we were doing was gonna bear fruit, and it has, and it will. So I'm really, and that's because of all of you. You can't do that kind of work by yourself, or even with a small team, you need all of us in our different places, and so thank you for that. We're gonna do our best with getting things ready for next year. And Alina is like the bulldog with everything. She's been amazing and spending a lot of time. Just holds on to it and goes, I got this. I'm gonna fix it. It's
does that. And that's about it for me. So thank you guys for being wonderful, and I gotta go. I'm supposed to be somewhere a while now. I'm like, I'm gonna be late, but.
Sunday dinner on Wednesday. We have overnight, the SIC, it's already gone through SIC, we just don't have the paper here. Parents can sign later. It's for the tennis team, and they put both the boys and the girls. The girls go in the fall and the boys in the spring, and they just go down to a tournament in St. George. I think they only miss like, the girls, I can't remember the exact date. I'm not even sure the girls actually miss school. This tennis starts before school starts. But the boys will definitely miss 1 or 2 days. But the thing about this particular tournament that everybody should kind of know is it's an invitational. Like you have to be invited. So for what the coach told me. And we're just trying to get that in place because we are going to get a new pros coach. So we're trying to have it overnight in place so we don't have to worry about it. Plus I won't be here next year, so I'm gonna be able to pass it on.
I make a motion to approve the tennis overnight request.
Let's take a vote. Anyone, all in favor? Anyone opposed? I'll come in.
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Jen. Thank you for all your. Okay,
We finished up our 10th grade CCRs, so those are done. We're working seniors across the finish line. The big challenge this year has been credit recovery. These students are part of the students who are involved in credit recovery. It's been quite a challenge. The district has created a credit recovery program, but it wasn't complete. And so due to Pam's leadership, we supplemented it with packets. We purchased them from Northridge. And so we've got multiple places to do credit recovery, and it's quite a challenge to keep all the balls up in the air. Students types of all the gaps. So we hope to get the vast majority of them across the finish line. If we don't make the finish line on May 31st, we still graduate. We just don't get the walk. But the best summer school is open right now, so students who want to do credit recovery or new credit, we have our summer school program. It's limited to U.S. government, health, fitness for life, financial literacy, those programs. We have teachers teaching those programs. It does require a parent signature. So counselors have those forms. And the student will get back with your signature. And we input it. They should be contacted by email. The specifics is June 5th through June 27th. The summer school, 8 in the morning till noon. Breakfast is provided.
You can only pick one of those.
You can only pick one of the new credits, 0.5. They are very serious about students attending. So if your students have been gone for a week, they'll have to sign up for summer school new credit. It's 2 days.
do they pay for the packet?
No, it's all free. So everything is free for summer school. Students who are doing credit recovery do not have to be there. It's not the same requirement because their seat time with. So they get 0.5.
Sorry, credit recovery is something that doesn't happen.
Credit recovery would be if you failed a requirement for graduation. All the types of requirements.
So they have through the summer to get work.
Yes, for seniors, they have all the way till August 27th to get finish up. Our summer school ends June 27th. But they continue to work on campuses online. They could continue to work on the practice throughout the summer. So if they don't get that by the end of our summer school, it doesn't mean they can't finish up the graduation. So they have any questions of me?
Sorry, can I just ask one? I'm just really curious, what percentage of senior finance?
This year, far more than. Because these are our ninth graders who are, so it's. I mean, won't graduate.
No, percent.
I have about 50% of the cap and gown still in my office.
Wait, 50 or 15? 50.
Percent. So that I usually have about 30. So it's teachers have to sign for them. Many of these students only need the class that they're in. The teacher required to sign. So we're waiting on signatures from some teachers. Some teachers do it early. So some of our students are continuing marching forward.
So pre-COVID, what percentage roughly?
35.
Yeah. So,
Oh, that 50% was how many cap and gowns I have in my house. That's not. Oh, I hope we're all graduating.
no, that's what I mean, that's 50%.
Our
Is this
graduation rate
single digit only that doesn't get it together by the end of?
Yeah, so you have a number of students who transfer out to horizontally that would be considered a non-graduate because they're so far behind. So they go there to finish up and so it does count against the school. So a number of those have already exited. Usually I have this year, I can't tell you how many, but maybe stuff with them.
Thank you.
All right. We're wrapping up a great year. PTA, we sponsored a taco truck for teachers and staff a few weeks ago that I thought was well received. And we did a service project with the students during their lunches for Pioneer Children's Hospital where they decorated food trays, and it's always fun to spend time with the students. I love that. The stash is up and running. Thank you to Rebecca Anderson and all the PTA volunteers. It's amazing that with Roman's departure that we were able to step in and help getting that running. And then we're just looking forward to planning all the senior activities, or helping, I should say, with wherever we're needed. So we're doing the senior pancake breakfast during graduation rehearsal, and then doing the big graduation party for the graduates. So that's what we're up to. And then the reins are going to be given to Shannon Friedman next year, the next PTA president. So she'll be reporting at these.
Okay.
Don't have much to report except that the next step for us will be to elect the 2 faculty members to serve on this committee and then get the cell phone policy in place. And welcome the 2 new administrators that are coming.
Can I ask you, how are things like, just, I know that Pam didn't really speak to it, but like with the bathroom and the hallway, how's that going?
Because it is the end of the term and most of the teachers are really busy working with students to make up assignments and stuff, we have fewer teachers signing up for bathroom duty. So I'm sad to report that because we have fewer people monitoring the bathrooms, we have more students in the bathrooms as a result.
But when it was being monitored? it was
Yes.
working.
It's not that it's not working now, we still have the number of incidents in the bathrooms low,
Okay.
but they are not as monitored as.
And Sarah, I did not say thank you for doing such an awesome job as PTA for this
No,
year.
that's
Yes, you did. You did a really good job. Do you mind just, you want to take over from here?
So I think that's everything, so all we really need is a motion to adjourn, unless somebody has.
We don't have it.
Oh,
Sorry. No, a second.
I'm so sorry.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So as for senior things, as we're ending, well, not just senior things, but we usually do a senior dinner dance. Would have been this weekend, but we decided to push all that energy toward the senior grad party, which we're very excited about, and I have one less thing to plan. Also, we purchased mess shirts for all students, but I'll be honest, we purchased those without having sufficiently raised the money, but I did it because I know it's something that kids really like, and so as a result, student gov is in the hole if you find yourself in possession of about $3,000. We'll be able to figure it out, but just so you know.